Hey everyone, Model Man Frank here. I hope you all can hear me today. Um, I guess we'll start. I'm sure people will join in as we speak, and can everyone hear me? I'm sure you can. So today we're going to talk about balsa and foam. Um, I went online last night and started downloading some plans of aircraft that I'm thinking about building. Just let me move that down a little bit. So I had actually started building airplanes already using other alternative techniques. Oh, by the way, I have a guest star today. His name is Tito. That's my cat. Me and my wife's cat. He's looking at everything that's going on outside and sniffing the air. He finds it very relaxing to him today. So that's Tito, and he'll be my producer today. So you know what? That light up there is not really working. So, ooh, that's light's even worse. Hmm. Oh, I guess you guys can see me, right? I'm not too bright, am I? All right. Well, I got a big book today. Um, this somebody dropped this off at my job, and no one knows whose it was. So I grabbed it. I always wanted this book. It's a very good book. It's got a lot of different style of aircraft in here. Um, I mean, it's an encyclopedia of all aviation. It doesn't have every book out there, but it's got a lot. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't have every airplane out, but it has a lot of airplanes. I find books. A lot of people are like, "Oh man, why are you getting books? You know, you can find it all online." No, you cannot find it all online. There are still a lot of books out there that deliver what we can't find online. Online, the thing is that type in an information, it may take you to something else, and that information may not be correct. The books that are out and that are still in print today are the ones that you really want to use when you're trying to look up airplanes. Um, one of the aircraft I'm going to show you is one that I started building. It's called a Skyvan. I tried looking it up a little bit. Couldn't find very much information about it. I was able to find information about it online. It was built by Minolta, Mahindra, Skyvan, and one guy actually did build plans for it. I'll put a link in his description. His name is Julian. He is on. I think he's in Indonesia. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. Just by his language, it's either Indonesia he's in or in the Philippines. So he's got a really nice channel that he puts out. He downloads. He makes the plan. He makes the planes in. He uses Inkscape and then he uses Blender to make a rough scale of what the plane's going to look like using foam board. He builds all his planes using plywood and foam board, which is really cool. It's something I've never seen anybody do, and I really took to listening to him and watching him do some stuff. I actually downloaded some of his stuff too. Um, excuse me. Um, the only thing that I find is a little hard. I built his Piper Cub. I built it exactly the same Let's RC. Hey man, how you doing? Welcome to the shop. Um, Talking about some airplanes. Um, so what I'm talking about today is balsa wood and foam board and other mediums of building some of these planes. So Julian RC, I believe it is. Let me make sure before I quote who he is. Um, he puts out some really cool models, and I'll put a link to his channel in a description box below so you can see all the stuff that he does. You can actually download his plans on sheets of paper and then build his Julius Perdana is his name. And I'm gonna actually put his I'm going to share his page right now on the chat so others can see. Let's RC. Here you go. You can check that one out. He's got some really cool stuff that he does. He's built everything from the ectomobile to model boats, and he uses foam board and he uses plywoods at the same time to build them. I mean, some of the stuff that he does, he built a 747. The only thing is that after building this thing, he built the 747. It's like huge. Um, and I don't think he realized, wait a second, I don't have any way to fly this. Um, he needs EDF motors, which, would have enough thrust. If he put four of them together, he would have enough thrust to fly this thing. He built it in subsections. Um, the plans were made available during the pandemic, and I guess he figured, you know what, I'm going to build a plane. I'm going to build a plane right. So he built that. Right now, currently, he's got plans that he's putting together for the. He's got a DC3 plans, which I started downloading a little bit of plans. I started printing out his stuff for the DC3, which I think would be a really cool plane, and I really do want to build a DC3. And he's got plans for C-130 he's building. He just recently finished a an OV1 bird dog. And I like the other bird dog, the OV2, which is the Cessna 177. I'm sorry, not the 177. The one Skymaster, Cessna Skymaster. He built the Skymaster. He made the plans for the Skymaster, and I really would like to build it. I actually wanted. I would like to use his plans to use it, yes, but I find some of his plans on that particular model a little bit wrong, especially the way the wing is, being that it's a twin boom tail. The tail, he puts it in, and you can tell that he's done it wrong. He's actually tilted it down. So what happens when he sees the plane goes up and then it goes down, is because the tail's situated. The tail actually has to be sitted almost perpendicular, almost to the straight angle of almost upwards. So when the plane is sitting in its angle like this on the ramp, it's not sagging. The only reason you see the plane sag is because of all the weight. So getting back to what I was talking about before, I'm sorry that we went on this tangent. The one that I started building was the Mahindra Skyvan. I actually, somebody flew one into the airport a couple of months ago, and I found the plane to be fascinating. The company Mahindra, they make tools and things like that, but they also delve into other things. And actually, here's the plane right now as it stands. I've got the wing. The wing's over here somewhere. But this is the Mahindra Skyvan. Now, these are for his plans. Now, the only thing that I didn't do is I didn't put it together the same way he does. I'm kind of trying to play around with different ways of putting together, because he has the wings where you bolt them on, and then he puts in a box on the bottom for uh, for the battery, kind of like a luggage box on the bottom, which I'm probably will do. But he also puts in a nose gear that's unsteerable. It's you can't really taxi with it, but I would really like to do that. So my thing is I'll be putting in a nose gear that will be able to turn along with it. His elevator was foam board. I changed it to a balsa wood one, um, and also the vertical stabilizer. It's foam board, but the vertical stabilizer itself is going to be foam board. So the tail planes will be foam board and balsa foam board and balsa at the same time. As you can see, it's pretty straight, a little bit cockeyed, but we'll get it fixed a little easier. I'll probably end up putting some rods of wire all the way down just to make it stiff. Um, so yeah, that's the plane itself. That's Julian uh, Palero. Palero. I'm butchering his name. Julian Padana. Julian Perdana uh, model. So this is the Skyvan. Once I started seeing his videos that you could build stuff with balsa and foam board, I wanted to build another airplane. So before I actually downloaded some of his videos, whoa, that's not good. I started building one of his planes. Started building this aircraft. This is a Cessna Pawnee. I'm sorry, a Piper Pawnee. It is a RC model. It's the plans. So what I did is I actually started using balsa and just changing around the medium, and then he found white packing tape as the covering for it. Instead, what I wanted to use, that's a cat. Um, I wanted to try something different, so I used duct tape, white duct tape. It looks pretty nasty. It's really not supposed to look like this. So there's a canopy that goes here, and then there's the front canopy right here also. And then here's the tail planes, which are balsa. And I used glue, uh, uh, glue gun to put the stabilizer on. And then there's the tail planes, and the wing would be going right here with the landing gear system and then the motor. I just never really got to continue going on with this. We actually ended up moving up here to from Miami, and I put this one on hold, but I will get back to it. If you hear any background noise, it's my cat. He's playing with a box, I'm sure. Um, so that will be another one. You saw the Mustang. I showed you guys the Mustang. That's another model. Um, so that you can put together a lot of different airplanes using that system. So let's RC. What's going on with you today? Thanks for joining the chat room. Looks like you went in and then you came back out. Don't know what's going on with you, but say hello when you get a chance. So did anybody see that? It was a video that came out this past week. Actually, it was a couple of weeks ago. There was an airplane that I guess the emergency door exploded and went out the window. I don't know. I saw it. Did you see that? You're here. I can see you. It was a 737, I think, or an A319. I think it was a 737, and it happened overseas. And you actually see the video. If you look at the video, you can actually see the wind blowing around. And what happened was the overwing hatch, I guess, blew open. I mean, I don't know how something like that could blow open. Those things are like indestructible. Um, From what I saw in the video and what I read in the caption is that I guess something got stuck on that door and it blew the door off. And they're flying, and I mean, stuff is blowing everywhere. Everybody survived. They landed safely, which is very good. Which is really tells you the testimony of the aircraft. Sorry about that. My cat is going bonkers over here. He's doing his thing. So, um, I'm sure some of you have seen the video that I put out about the Gentle Lady. I really hope you liked it. Tell you one thing, that plane really does fly really nice. Here's the Gentle Lady tail. I also put out a video about this aircraft, which is the Tiger Moth. I test flew it last week. It needs more battery power, so I went ahead and I bought a 4-cell 2200 battery, which I think will be enough power to pick it up and put it back up in the air. I used the 3-cell 2200, which it tells you to use. There's a problem with that. Actually, I'm sorry, it did say 4-cell, but I tried the 3-cell anyways just to see what would happen. It wasn't developing, it wasn't creating enough lift, and the plane would be really sluggish. I did notice that the plane always wanted to climb every time I put full throttle. So I backed off on the throttle. It really does some really nice landings, and I like that a lot. I would like to do some more flying with it. Probably going to end up taking it to the field tomorrow, and I'll do some. I would like to see if I can do some, a loop-de-loop with it. One of the planes I do want to take is also this one here, which is my Cessna 310. Landing gear issues galore with it. It'll retract the landing gear, but when you want to go to put it back down, the front nose gear or the main gears won't go back down. You'll get 2 gears that'll come down, or maybe just 2 gears to come down. You'll get the mains, and sometimes you'll get just the nose. So I'll retract everything, and then what's going to happen is the landing gear is going to get stuck in the up position, and I'm going to have to belly land the plane constantly. So tomorrow, if I do fly it, I'm just going to take it and fly it with the landing gear down. I'll make sure to make video of it. I'm also going to take the the Tiger Moth with me. I think I do need to make another flight of the Tiger Moth. I do want to detail it, make it a little bit more, because flying it with just yellow and flat color, it really, you can't tell depth. So one of the color schemes that I'm looking at painting it, and I found it in this book here. Is it this book? I'm sorry, it was this one. So I've got this another book, and this is why I think books are really good. You can find color schemes to actual aircraft that flew during that time period. So this particular color scheme that I'm looking at is a camouflage color scheme. A little bit intense, but I think it would be a really cool color scheme to do. So just to let you guys know what this book is, this is Airtime Publishing put these books out back in the 1990s. Really good books. This one's the British. This one's called British Warplanes of World War II. Really good book. You can still find them used. It's got a lot of nice, really clear illustrations. It's also got a lot of good history in the book. A lot of good history on each aircraft that flew during World War II in the British Air Force. And the Tiger Moth is one of them. Let me see if I can pull up that book, that aircraft in particular. Bristol Bowfighter. I think this is a cool airplane. So this aircraft was a multi-role aircraft. It could fly with, you could it could do torpedo work. Really, it could fly during the day. It could fly be a night fighter. Um, the nose gun here, it has the radar, but if you can see there, it has four cannons. They had a model that had the four cannons on the bottom, and then it had a model that actually had the cannons on the front. The plane was deadly. Let me see. The Havilland, not Constellation. Here we go. De Havilland, another really nice plane. I would love to really, really. I found the kit for it. Is the Dragon, or the Domini. This is the Dragon here. This is called the Dragonfly actually, because of the wings, the way the wings are. And it was a very pretty aircraft. There's our bird, our tiger moth. But the de Havilland, so Comet made a kit of it, and now Dumas has a kit of it. There's a guy on YouTube, and I'll see if I can find the link for you, and I'll put the link in the description box below. He actually builds one of these. I don't know if he flies it or not, but I think I started watching it. I know it's very nice illustrations, EMV. You are correct. So yeah, this plane is really a really sweet looking aircraft. There's not a lot about it. The Domini Mark II, there was a communication variant. This is the communications variant that actually had. It was used as a liaison aircraft to go back and forth between fighter bases and bomber bases. The RAF used them a lot, extensively. It had the same motor as the Tiger Moth had. It had two of them. There was a model that came with, they tried making a model with retractable landing gear. It didn't really work too well. The problem with landing gears, early landing gear systems back in the day when these planes were actually built, they were a little cumbersome, and landing gear system actually adds a lot of weight to an aircraft. Like the Cessna 177, which is the Cardinal, has a retractable landing gear system, but you have to support everything that actually for that landing gear system comes up. So when you do see airplanes like the 177 or the 182 retract or the Centurion, those planes, you see them with retractable landing gear. The landing gear, it'll start to come up. It'll actually droop down and then come up. That whole system in there is very complex, and it adds weight to the aircraft. Also, it adds other problems down the road. You're flying along, you're getting ready to land, and you go to put the landing gear down. What's going to happen? The landing gear doesn't come down. Why? Because something broke in the landing gear retracts. So planes like that just, it was a design that was really cool to be able to retract and make your plane a little bit more streamlined. Or 182s, you really don't need to have it as a retract, or against like the Domine, you don't have to make it a retract also. It just makes it a whole lot easier to fly and maintain. So this book here, yes, this is a book to have. If you can find it used, great. Make sure that the pages are really in good condition. But that is the color scheme that I would like to actually use. I could have sworn our executive producer Tito was here just a moment ago, but I guess he's left. He's probably gone to do other things that were more important. So yeah, this is the color scheme that I wanted to actually do on the Tiger Moth. I think it would be a really nice tiger. I'm also going to do the registration and the color scheme. I got to get green and brown. They do sell the green and brown spray paints at Home Depot. You can spray paint these aircraft as long as it says foam and it doesn't have enamels in it. You want it water based. The only things that can be painted on these aircraft is water-based paint, which is Krylon or the Valspar paints that you see at Home Depot or at Lowe's. Those are the paints you want to use, because the thing with other harsh paints like Rust-Oleum, they have enamels in them. Yeah, they probably could be used. I'll have to try it out, but I'd much rather just use Krylon or Valspar. But yeah, I'm gonna do this color scheme on that aircraft. The only difference I'm gonna change, the only thing I'm gonna change really is the nose cone. Nose cone is gonna be white, which I already painted on this one here, so won't be able to do it. Um, but yeah, you can see the photo here. You can see it. So yeah, the photos, really nice photos, really nice illustrations in this book. This is one book to have if you definitely do want to get a book like this. Closing the window. So this is one book here. Um, Airstream Publishing putting out two other books. One being of the American warplanes in World War II. They also put out a Vietnam book. I have that one in my room, in our bedroom right now, which I'm slowly going through it again. This is the Gulf War. This is the Gulf War debrief. This was also put out by Airtime Publishing. Airtime Publishing put out this book right after the Gulf War. Has really beautiful illustrations in it. Um, Everything's pretty much in color. A lot of nice color photos. Very good illustrations of like F-18s and things like that. This is a really cool book to have. You can find it in the used section on Amazon. A lot of used library guys have them. They made a lot of good books. It's sad because Airtime Publishing did a lot of good stuff. They had some of the best illustrators for a lot of the photos of the drawings of the airplanes. Um, Very detail oriented, very extensive in the way they did their writing. Jaguar. I think this is a really cool airplane. Never haven't seen a lot of those airplanes in RC form. The Jaguar. Um, I'm sure there's a lot out there. Just most of the ones that you do see in RC form are, of course, they're jet powered. But I haven't seen anybody actually make the foam style aircraft of this plane. It was a really cool airplane. It was made with a beefy looking landing gear. The landing gear was made so it could land on unimprovised runways. The way the missile would be carried on the top of the wing pylon, so they would be able to carry extra ordnance. Where do you see any of that stuff in? The Lightning, the British Lightning, the BAE Lightning, it did that also. It had the wing on top. This is the Spec Cat Jaguar, which is a really cool aircraft, and of course also the Tomcat. Tomcat really had showed its other uh, during the Gulf War, and during which was the first Gulf War. Um, the Tomcat made its own debut there. It was a good fighter. It also, during Operation Enduring Freedom, found another role just as it was coming to its end of life for the Tomcat as a bomber. Um, a lot of models, a lot of RC planes have been made in the Tomcat. Flight Test just put out a foam board version of the Tomcat, so you can have it with swing wings and you can put the EDF motors in it and stuff like that. Um, really good thing that you could do is if you were to buy that aircraft and you build it, the foam board model of that airplane, uh, a real tribute would be to paint it up in one of the color schemes of the Gulf War, uh, Gulf War One and Gulf War Two, and just pay tribute to those guys that flew that aircraft. That was a great plane. The Tomcat flew for many, many years since 1974. The Tomcat came onto the field in 1979. It was literally almost the airplane retired at 30 years old almost. It was a really, really good plane. Uh, they didn't sell it to any other countries because Iran had them. They didn't want the spare parts to wind up with the Iranians. But that's another discussion for another time and another day. It, that also has to do with politics, which I will not take up on this channel. Everybody has their own views, and that's something that I just don't want to delve into. Getting back to other airplanes. So I got that. We talked about the Balsa medium from balsa wood and foam board skin type of thing. One aircraft that I started building when I was in Miami, it was a Piper Cub. I got the wings up here and the fuselage. It was an offset, weird looking model of the Sterling models Piper Cub. The tail was huge. I just wasn't really having it too well with the tail. So I stopped building the aircraft until I could figure out what else to do with it. Um, the model came out a long time ago. So I wanted to make something different. What I did is I used the kit's original parts to make up the fuselage. And I'm going to show you what that kit looks like. I've got it here somewhere. I did have it here. Oh, here it is. So this is the plane. What I did is, as you can see, that's the Piper Cub. So as I started building the plane, I realized, man, this is a really weird looking frame. And what I thought was, you know what? I can make it like something else. There's a guy at the field that I fly at, and I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that question, that answer. There is a gentleman at the field where I work at. Excuse me. Pardon me. Water. There's a gentleman at the field that I fly at that has a J5 Cub. You ask what a J5 Cub is? A J5 Cub was Piper Cub's answer to building a bigger plane. It was a 3-passenger plane. You could put 2 passengers in the back or 2 passengers in the front, and you would have your pilot in the back. It was basically meant for 3 people or 4 people, depending on how skinny they were. This gentleman actually has one that was built in 1941. It was rolled off the factory line in December of 1941, same month that the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attacked on December the 7th, and the war started on December 8th and December 9th. So I started looking at it and realizing I could just build a J5 out of this, and none would be the wiser. The only thing is I've got to make sure that I get the wings all set up. I've got the plans to finish it all up, and that is another plane to build. But as you can see on how the plane is put together, I've got the innards of the formers for the balsa wood are a balsa wood, and the skin, the outer skin, is foam board, so it's a different medium. You can use this hobby. Being part of this hobby is a great thing. You can do anything with it. You don't have to have a lot of skill or a lot of money to buy. If you're going to get into this hobby, if you're talking to a friend or to yourself, or if I'm talking to somebody, I'm going to tell them look around on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, or Offered Up. Not too much on Offered Up. Try and stay away from them. Um, Facebook Marketplace is a pretty good place to buy some used stuff. If you join a club, which I really highly advise you do, ask around people in the club. Somebody will actually be willing to give something away. It happens a lot at some of the clubs. You know, some guys will help you get into the plane, into the model airplane stuff, and just hand stuff down that's been handed to them. Uh, you know, and just on the side note, if you do decide later on down the road that you just want to get rid of the model that was given to you, pay it forward. Give it to somebody else that will use it in the same manner and instance that you were given that aircraft to learn. So that's just a side note there. You can get into this hobby. You know, the most you're going to end up spending is going to be for your batteries, your fuel, and your electronics, and your radio. Your radio is going to start pretty much at a high price. Maybe your an average radio will cost you about $200, between $200 and $300. A good radio, you can go to like a $700 radio. You don't really need a $700 radio. You need a simple radio. You can get a DX6 for $300. You could probably find one cheaper online through eBay or any of the hobby shops online. I bought my DX6 when I got back into the hobby. This DX6 currently has 10 airplanes, 10 receivers into the airplane, into the radio. I've got almost every aircraft you see in here programmed into this receiver. You can use your receiver. I'm sorry, I've been saying it completely wrong. Not the receiver. The receiver is what's inside the aircraft. This is your transmitter. Your transmitter has the capability to hold different aircraft in it. All your mixing and different things will happen on here. Maybe on our next podcast next week, I'll talk more about the transmitters, especially this one here. This is a good buy. You go to any hobby shop, you know, they'll tell you, oh no, you got to read up on reviews. Some guys will tell you this is a bad radio. Some guys will tell you the DX68 is a bad radio. I got this radio. This is my first radio back into the hobby. And guess what? It works really good for me. I don't have safe mode on my planes. And I use this as much as I can. And I use it the way I use it for. I don't have safe. So when I flip a switch, you know, the plane's not going to rewrite itself. I just make sure to keep an eye on the plane. Sorry for jumping all over the place. Then you've got your batteries. We've gone over your batteries, electronics, your radio. Getting into the actual hobby itself, buying an electric motor, your ESCs, and then your transmitters. You can buy on Flight Test what's called a power pack. The power pack comes with your ESC, which is your speed controller, your servos, and it comes with a motor. So if you go to Flight Test, I'll put a link in the description for Flight Test in the description box down below this video. After it's done, you'll be able to see it. You'll go to Flight Test. You can actually also buy kits from them. They'll actually sell you foam board kits that they make up themselves, or you can buy a power pack and get something from somebody at your local model club, or from somebody who's started building it something and they didn't have time to finish it. Do it that route. Go the route of your model club. Your model club is a wealth of knowledge. There are guys in there that have been flying model airplanes for a very long time. They'll know what you need and what you don't need. Ask them for the advice. Do not go to a online retailer and ask them. They're going to sell you things that you don't need. Um, so when you get into this hobby, the first thing you're going to do, get an AMA membership, and then get into building airplanes. Or if you want to go down the pre-foam made airplane, no problem. That's up to you. I, on the other hand, prefer to actually build my airplanes. One question I wanted to ask some of you out there: do you guys like watching content of me flying the airplanes? I know you guys like the shorts that I put out, but I'd like to see uh, if you guys put an answer down in the bottom of this page, in the comments. Do you want to see more videos on building the aircraft? Because if you do, I'll put out some videos of me building airplanes. I'm still working on my air coupe, and I'll put more videos out of me building it. Excuse me. Or do you like seeing the videos of the planes flying? I can still put out videos of that. I just want to get a kind of feel of, what is it that you guys like watching. Um, Something I really want to touch base here on with. Um, my channel here, I really like talking about aviation with y'all, and this is what I really like doing. When I won't be here next Monday. Um, I have some things I have to do with life situations, and I'm not really going to go into the situation where I have to do some stuff with my wife. When I get home from driving, we're going to be driving a lot, so I'm not going to be able to come on here and spend time with you. So Sunday night, we'll have a live session here. It will be at 8 o'clock, and we'll talk about whatever you know is on my mind at that time, and we'll go over some different kits and different airplanes that are out there. Is there a particular aircraft up here you guys want to talk about? Put in the link description down below in the comment field, and we'll talk about the specific aircraft. One thing I wanted to talking about the books. It's really important that you actually have maybe put together a small little library of stuff that you can have. Books are really a lot better than looking for stuff online. I have found that when I go online to look for a particular aircraft, I don't get the right airplane. I put in the description what I'm looking for: J5, J3, Tiger Moth, and then it doesn't really. You got to go searching through so many different things to find what you're exactly looking for. Books and magazines. If you see something in a magazine or in a book, you can save that stuff. You can hold on to those things. You can pass them on. Like the airtime publishing books are amazing, yes, but I also like, over my time, my lifespan, really, I put together my own binder of stuff, and I saved illustrations and things like that. I made my own illustration books. The magazines were falling apart, so I would take the stuff out. You can't keep stacks and stacks of magazines. So what I did is I took out the things that I wanted to hold on to, which are the color slides of each plane. So, like Squadron Signals had all these books, and inside they would have a fold out page with every different color scheme you could have on a certain type of aircraft. Hellcat. I mean, Helldiver. MH-53. Oops. Demon. P-38s. And the Chinese Burma Theater. KC-135s. The first Sukhoi. F4s. These are actually printouts that I took from a magazine. I made color copies and I actually put them in here. And just like a wealth of other information of their magazine articles that I had read, and they had the actual illustrations inside, so I took those out. I have two of these binders. The other binder is actually for plastic models. I'm going to talk about plastic models next week. I still have a lot of plastic kits that I want to get into building again. I was watching, as a matter of fact, I was watching James May from Top Gear fame put out a couple of videos about Humbro and Hornsby, the owners of Airfix, back in 2019 before the pandemic. Plastic models are still kind of fun to build, and you can still build those inexpensively also using, as we all know, you can use Krylon paints, or you can actually make your own paints using acrylics. And we're going to talk about that next week. So next week's is going to be plastic models and more of the illustration books, and I'll talk about that, and some different types of airplanes. More about books and plastic models next week on next week's podcast. Not podcast, sorry, live stream. Live stream next week will be on Sunday. Let's see, it'll be Sunday the 25th at 8 p.m. I look forward to seeing all of you here, and we'll talk about it at that point in time. Something that just came to my mind is tomorrow is going to be a nice day. So tomorrow is going to be another day for the Tiger Moth, and for the 310. I do definitely need to make another flight video of the 310. And I'll be doing some other stuff. I'll watch whoever else is flying up at the field tomorrow also. Well, with that said, and I'm very tired, and I really need to get to some bed, get some rack time. And hey, has anybody watched X-Files lately? The reruns are really good. I found that on Freevee, and I'm gonna go actually right now and watch Freevee and watch some X-Files. But in the link in the description box below, I'll put Flight Test, Julian's page, and all that, and we'll put that in the description box below with some of the videos, some of the things I spoke about. Also, Airtime Publishing. You can go to Amazon.com and type in Airtime Publishing, and they have some of the books in there. Osprey is another good maker of really fine reading materials about some of the aviation style books that are out there, and squadrons and things like that. So yes, aliens, X-Files, aliens, definitely. Just thought about something. Making a flying saucer, an RC flying saucer with foam board. Oh my God, it's coming into my brain right now of a flying saucer. Maybe we'll talk about that also in the next conversation. We got a lot of stuff we can talk about every single day. So, but I can't do this every single day. But I really do appreciate you guys all coming on here and supporting my channel. And to all of these subscribers who have been subscribing to my channel, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I know some of you will probably are watching this video now after it's gone live. Should try and make it to the live video. I do post out that it's going to go live as an upcoming event at least 3 or 4 days before the actual event of this going live. So now that we're coming up on the 50-minute mark after the video has started, I'm just going to let you guys know our next upcoming live session will be Sunday the 25th instead of Monday the 26th. And with all that said, Let's RC and EMV, I will talk to you guys on the next round. Let's RC, I hope to see you next Sunday. And let your friends know. Please hit the thumbs up button if you can. Subscribe. Put the little bell. Okay, click that little bell to remind you when we will go live and when new videos come out. And share the videos. Also, if you have a comment about something, please leave your comments in the description box in the comment field below. If this is shared on one of the Facebook pages or anything like that, don't leave it in the Facebook page. And I'm not going to, any Facebook pages, if you're going to share this on Facebook, I don't see where you're sharing it. So I ask that you come here to YouTube, go into the comment field that's down below here, and leave a comment there. I will read them. I read all my comments, and I will answer appropriately. If it's an inappropriate comment, I won't answer it. I will block you, or I will erase you. I won't block you. I'm sorry, but I will erase it. Please make sure it's an appropriate comment, and if it's something that you want to talk about, or we should talk about, or you made a suggestion, please again leave it in the description box below. So, with all that said, thank you very much for watching tonight, and we will catch you on the next flight. Remember, God loves you, and you guys have a good week. Model Man Frank out.